Hello my friends, my name is Lindsey. I run the blog Books for Christian Girls, and welcome back to the little corner of the internet where I talk mainly about Christian fiction. Today we are back at my desk because not only are we talking about clean fiction and Christian fiction, it is a tier ranking video of all the Kindle Unlimited books I read in 2024. There's 119 of them, which is definitely a record for me. I'm already maybe potentially surpassing that though this year. Not quite to it yet, but I think it will be very easy for me to pass that this year, especially with all the fairy tale retellings I've been consuming. But we are going to just start tier ranking. I did want to just acknowledge real quick, the 12 balloons is because... Okay, I think that was a neighbor's truck passing by. That was bright. Did y'all see that? Golly. Anyway, the 12 balloons is because Books for Christian Girls, the blog that this channel is connected to, is 12 years old. So, woo! That's so exciting. I can't believe it's been 12 years that I've been reviewing books and talking about Christian fiction and the content in them, and that's just amazing to me. So, had to celebrate with some balloons. There's a special activity happening on our website, so please feel free to check that out if you are curious. That's all I'm going to say about that. We are going to tier rank some books. So let me get my screen recording set up and we will explain everything. So here is our little ranking. It's basically the same as what I did last year, but I tweaked it just a little bit. So we have favorites, books I can and will fangirl about, just give me the opportunity. Really liked, self-explanatory, liked, also self-explanatory. Not bad, not great, it didn't very much impress me. You might like it. It wasn't that impressive to me. Didn't meet my expectations is a new one this year. I actually added it to when I did tier ranking my first 50 books of this year. And I liked it there, but I don't know how it's going to go for here. So we'll see how this video goes. Then we have fun plot, but I didn't like something about it, and that's usually going to be there was too much of a certain kind of content for me. I like my books to be very squeaky clean, so that's usually maybe like there was too much kissing or sexual innuendos or language or like something about that. That will be there. Literally don't remember much is my equivalent of I just binge read this book in like an hour, 2, 3 hours. I don't remember anything about it as of now. It is April 2025 when I'm filming this. I feel like most of these are fresh in my head, but we'll see. And then DNF didn't like, I just stuck those together. We are probably going to have to do 2 screens of this halfway through, so we'll see how that goes because I do know I read a lot of really good books and I also read some mediocre ones. So we'll see how that goes. So as a quick note before we get started, I am unable to link every content review of all of these books. So what I'm going to have to do is what I've done in the past and just link to y'all the recent reads in the description. And I'll put in parentheses which book was talked about where, so y'all can just click on that recent reads for whatever book you're interested in, and in the description of that video we'll have the link to the full content review. Have to do that because of character limits, so I'm sorry about that, but then you can hear more of my thoughts. I'm not going to hopefully talk too terribly long about all of these books. Hopefully. That is the goal because again, it's 119. And on that note, not all of these I read on Kindle Unlimited. Some of them I had advanced reader copies, but then the author put them on KU by the end of the year. So I went ahead and added them because this is basically like me sharing with y'all about Kindle Unlimited books, and I definitely make use of my subscription. So I want to share if there was a particular book I really liked that is now available on there for y'all to know. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and get started. Starting off in January, we have The Golden Goal by Anna Conwell. Unfortunately, I have learned this author is not for me. It's a little too kissy and such things like that for me. So I don't think I technically gave it a rating, but I would have given it a 1. He is a hockey player. She is the new team's PT. And as someone who nearly became an OT, her lack of professionalism just was astounding to me. And then they just kissed and had way too much of that for my taste. On Wings of Ash and Dust by Brittany Wang. This is a clean fantasy book that has fairies and a competition. It kind of reminded me of Pixie Hollow and the Lost Treasure in a way, but more of a competition along that lines. I liked this one. I gave it 3 stars. I'm going to read the sequel whenever it releases. I think the author, though, has extended it to be a 4-book series now. So I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series when it comes out. It was very bingeable. It was fun. I liked it well enough. The Unlucky Prince by Deborah Grace White. This is a Frog Prince retelling. It is part of a multi-authored series, but it's actually connected to another series by this author that I read at the end of the year because I didn't realize it was a connecting to another one. So I did really like this one. I re-skimmed it after I read the other series, which we'll talk about towards the end of this video, but I gave it like 3.5 stars, 3.5, 4 stars, and I did really like it. Another one in that multi-authored series, it was basically like Once Upon a Prince, and it was fairy tale retellings, but more so from like the prince's perspective, which I really liked the concept, and I read a few of them. This one, though, The Golden Prince by Alison Vaya, maybe? I'm not sure how to pronounce this author's name, I'm so sorry. I gave it 3 stars, and looking back, I feel like that's a little high because the main girl drove me insane. The Rapunzel main character, she was like a con woman, but not one I really liked. And I don't know, I'm very picky, I feel like, nowadays on my Rapunzel retellings because I've read so many, so that also could be affecting what I thought of it. I have read another series by this author, and I plan to read other books by her, but I didn't love that one, and it was fine, but it just wasn't really my thing. Listening to the Rain by Miriam Thor. This is a Christian YA book that I actually really liked. The author sent me a copy for review, but it is on Kindle Unlimited as of the end of this last year. I have not double checked in the last few months, but that I know of, all of these books are still available, so just like check it out, make sure they still are. I would get a physical copy of this one though. It was very sweet, very family oriented, sibling, cousins, all of that, and they have a trying time with something that happens, but the faiths grow stronger, and it had really good faith content. The Mostly Real McCoy by Julie Christensen. I have that I gave this one like a 2, 2.5. I don't remember anything about it. I think she worked at a librarian. He was a single dad. She worked at a librarian. She was a librarian, and he was a single dad. And she like mouthed off about his family not realizing who he was. So like that was embarrassing. I'm just gonna put that under I don't remember much. Most rom-coms, unless it's like by a favorite author, they are in one year out the other year, if you will. First in My Heart by Rachel Blanchard. This was a Christian contemporary new adult, I think. I think they were in their 20s, or were they in their 30s? I don't remember off the top of my head. This one was cute. I liked it well enough. I think I gave it like 3.5, 4. I liked it. A Goose Girl by K.M. Shea. Oh, I know I've asked y'all how to say this author's name and I don't know. This was actually my first fairy tale retelling I've read by her, and I want to read her other ones. This was part of a multi-authored series where they are all connecting about different sisters. And I wasn't very impressed with this one. I gave it 3 stars. It kind of just felt like a very standard Goose Girl story. So I want to read her other books because I don't feel like this was the best experience with her books, being my first one and this being the first one. So I'm honestly going to put it under not bad, not great. It was fine, but it just was the very standard, typical Goose Girl storyline. Like, there wasn't much uniqueness. Hey Jude, Carpenter by Storm Stultz. So this one was not on Kindle Unlimited when I read it, but I believe it is now. So feel free to check it out. This is a Christian YA contemporary sweet book. Very cute, very cute. One of my favorites from last year. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's basically about these 2 feuding families in this small town. And then, well, they're not really feuding families. They're avoiding each other because of a church split and feud in that regard. And so what happens when their daughter and then their son meet and develop a friendship? Sparks in more ways than one. It was cute. I really liked this one. I just really like contemporary YA in general. That is such a comfort, nostalgic genre for me, so I really liked that one. The Steadfast Heart by Arlem Hawks. This is a retelling of the Steadfast Tinge Soldier in a Regency time period. This is a Regency novella fairy tale retelling series by multiple different authors. I read all of them, I think, last year, and I liked all of them. This was one I would say I liked on the higher side. I gave it 3.5, 4 stars. I'm not really sure where to put it. I guess I'll put it under really like. it's kind of in between really liked and liked with a 3.5, 4 rating. So we'll just stick it there. A Lonely Dance by Selena R. Gonzalez. This is book 2 in a series where I really, really liked book 1, but the second book was about the villain in the first book, and I didn't want to read it, but I buddy read it with 2 of my sweet booktuber friends, and it was actually, it was good. I have to say it was good. So I gave this one about a 4-star, maybe a little under. As of filming this, I just read the 3rd book, and I liked that one more, but it's really good just to see the redemption arc, I guess you could say, yeah, of the villain in that one. And that was a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. And the author really did neat with, just within all 3 books I've read. There's a 4th book I still have to read. But in this one, it was so neat because the main girl, her country, she's a princess, but her country and their cultural things, it was very unique, very different. I feel like the author spent a lot of time on the world building and like giving all the characters and all the countries and the kingdoms different cultural elements, and I don't know, I just thought that was really cool. That's really stood out to me with this series. I would say it's probably more upper YA new A, because sometimes there's like a few minor curse words, but just as a heads up, I've really been enjoying them though. Another one in that Regency fairy tale series, we have Beauty and the Baron by Joanna Barker. I gave this one 4 stars. Very cute. Not really too much to say about it. That whole series was fun. That one was fun. My Lucky Charm by Courtney Walsh. This is a contemporary clean rom-com. It was a little kissy for my taste, so I gave it like a 3-ish stars. I don't remember like how much there was though. I just remember there being some. Like I'd have to look up my review to remind myself why did I give it a 3 and like not a higher rating. So I'm really not sure where to put this one. I liked the first book better. I remember that much. It was set around St. Patrick's Day. It's one of the hockey clean rom-coms. Fun plot, but I didn't like something about it. That implies to me there was way more content I had difficulty with. I don't remember. We'll put it there. I don't remember. Another clean rom-com, Cinder Luna by Marie Soleil. Soleil? Maybe is how you pronounce the author's name? I don't know how to pronounce names. If you're new here, hi, I can't pronounce anything to save my life. This was a clean rom-com, but a Cinderella retelling. Contemporary modern day. It really worked well. It was pretty cute. I gave it 3 stars. I bought a physical copy of it even. It was cute. Celebrities Don't Date Bookworms by Clara Nelson. This felt like a One Direction fanfic. What did I give this? Like 2 stars, I think? It was very much like you could replace members of One Direction's name with characters from this book, down to the Irish member. Like, yeah. I feel bad if I say I didn't like it because I gave it 2 stars. But 2 stars was probably pretty generous. Looking back, it probably was generous. Okay, speaking of generous, Sign Me Up by Dulcie Dameron. This was a clean rom-com. Yeah, I have that I gave it 2 stars. I don't know why I gave it 2 stars, because the things I remember, there were so many. It was neat that it had the ASL representation, but the main girl was so embarrassing. So much secondhand embarrassment was ridiculous. So all we're going to learn, here we go. Let me just get these next 2 out of the way and then I'll make a comment. My Forbidden Billionaire. That title, just like, oh, I can't believe I read this one. Kristen W. Joy is the author. I didn't rate this one, but I would give it a 1, in all honesty, because it was pretty cringy. How to Kiss a Movie Star by Jenny Proctor. I will not be reading any more of this author's books for different reasons, but this one's concept was very cute. Very kissy for my taste, though, so we're just going to put it that under fun plot. So here's what we've learned. Well, here's what I've learned. Clean rom-coms are not as clean as I prefer. And I had trial and error basis there. I have a few more that I kept trying, and I'm a glutton for punishment, obviously. So I have learned that unless I have read a book by an author and I found the romance content to not be that much, most of the times they are not going to be squeaky enough for my taste. I don't really want to know all their emotions and desires and longing for the other person when they're kissing the other person. I don't need to know that. I prefer my books way squeakier. So, yeah, I struck out a lot on that. Nobody's Hero by Janine. I don't know how to pronounce the author's last name. This was interesting because it was like a superhero world. And there was faith content, but then there was a bit of minor cussing, like the D word and the H word, and that was kind of odd to me. It was different. It was different. I gotta admit, I don't like that cover. The concept was fun, but there was things I didn't care for. Oh goodness, this book. Mask of Deception and Sacrifice by Callie Thomas. I have learned now this year that this author probably is just not for me. Her male leads I don't really care for so far of the ones I've read because they are kind of that obsessive vibe, and I don't do that. I like the golden retriever puppy energy. So yes, this was interesting. Can I just put it that way? It was interesting. I think I gave it like 2 stars. See, 2 stars usually means it was okay, but when it comes to the clean fiction genre, I feel like I'm a little more generous on there for some reason, and I need to think that through. Lone Witness by Rachel Dillon. This is a Christian fiction suspense book. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it well enough. I don't really remember too much about it. She was a lawyer, and so there was a lot of law scenes and courtroom scenes, so I liked that. Elsewise, I don't remember. Maybe I should put that under the green bar, but we'll put it up. Well, I'll put it under there. I don't remember. I haven't finished the series. I should. I own them, but I haven't gotten to them. Just the title of this one should have been a giveaway for me. Desire or Defense by Lena Brunner. I don't know how to pronounce the author's name. I think it's not the way I'm saying it though. Clean hockey rom-com, not as clean as I prefer, and so that was all of my attempts and trial and error and glutton for punishment books down there, where I've kind of just given up on clean rom-coms that are on Kindle Unlimited, unless it's by an author I love, like Erin Mangum. I can trust her books. But so far, I'm striking out massively on the clean rom-com category on Kindle Unlimited, and that's fine, honestly, because I'm reading fairy tale retellings. I don't really care about anything else. I'm reading fairy tale retellings. So with that, I think that's basically the end of all those attempts. So let's get on to some, I was going to say decent books. So here's an unpopular opinion. Emma by Jane Austen. Can I just put it somewhere and not comment on it? I'm sorry, I do not get the hype from Mr. Knightley. I had issues. I ranted about it. I got rants back in the comments. Y'all are fine. That's totally fine, but no. I did not get the hype for Emma. I'm so sorry. The Kingdom's True Queen by Michaela Bush. This is part of the Legends of Lenaria. Lenaria. I think it's Lenaria. That's how my brain says it, so hopefully that's correct. By Michaela Bush. This has been an interesting series. The first one was a Rapunzel retelling that I really liked, so I've just been continuing on with the series, even though they're not retellings. I really can't tell you much about it, even though I think I gave it a 3.5. I don't remember really anything about it. Maiden in the Tower by Heidi Kimball. This was my favorite one in the Forever After Fairy Tale Retellings Regency Setting series that you'll hear me talk about the rest of the books, as I've already talked about a couple of them. This is a Rapunzel retelling. My favorite. Absolutely adorable. So cute. Very springish if you need a springtime book. I just mentioned it in my spring recommendations video with some other books, of course, but that one was really cute. Okay, and here's the book that started off my fairy tale reading, really. Like, the other one's okay, yes, those did. But this was the one that launched it off, and that was The Princess Companion by Melanie Sellier. When I tell y'all the fairy tale retelling genre has had me in a chokehold since I've read this book in May, I'm not kidding. 4.5 stars, felt like a classic Barbie movie, retelling A Princess and the Pea, and just spins off into like 22 books. So we're going to be talking about all those 22 books today. Fun times. So, ta-da! Yes, that one goes up there. Book 2 in that series is The Princess Fugitive by Melanie Sellier. It is a reimagining, retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. I actually liked this one way more than I was expecting because it is about the villain of the first book, but it was really good. There is a competition, trial stuff, and I find I like that kind of thing, so I really like that one. There Goes the Groom by Esther Hatch. I honestly don't remember. I gave it 2 stars according to my notes. I liked the first book in the series a lot. The second one was a little kissy for my taste, and I think this was the case for that as well. Maybe? I don't remember. The Coronation Ball by Melanie Sellier is a novella in the series Cinderella. I really like Cinderella ones. Really liked that one. Happily Ever Afters, which is a reimagining of Snow White and Rose Red in the Four Kingdoms Melanie Sellier series. I really liked this one as well. Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to scooch everybody, or we are unfortunately covering half the cover prior because there is just so many I know that are going to be added to this shelf because of all the Melanie Sellier books. So we'll see if this is enough. It might not be enough space. We'll find out. Assassin of Fire and Sacrifice by Mary Meekum. I meant to recheck how to say this author's name and I did not. So sorry. This is an enemies to more arranged marriage fantasy book, and I was stunned by how much I enjoyed this one. Enemies to more, arranged marriage, marriage of convenience. I don't do those genres usually because of certain issues and reasons and content concerns, but I ended up really liking this one. It was very clean in the whole marriage of convenience side, and then their banter back and forth was just great. She is an assassin undercover sent to kill the crown prince of the neighboring country that they've been feuding with, but he doesn't know that. So it was good. It was very good. I actually bought the special edition hardcover and the paperback of that book. The Audacious Miss Eliza by Rolla Rawlings. I don't remember this book. I think I gave it like a 3. Yeah, I don't remember anything about it. It was a Regency. Somehow the girls, even though their father wasn't rich, they come out in society because of some other lady who he rescued or something. I ended up DNFing, well, not even DNFing. I ended up just not keeping the rest of the series. I owned them and I was like, I'm not interested. Never mind. Hope at the Ocean's Edge by Chantel J. McDonald. This was a Christian contemporary YA book. Overall, I really liked it. It had a lot of character growth for our main character. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm going to put it under liked, I think. I haven't read the rest of the series, but I'd need to. The Princess Pack by Melanie Sellier. This is a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. So, really liked that one. I think I gave basically everyone 4 stars in this first series. A Midwinter's Wedding is a retelling, reimagining of The Frog Prince. And this one was it was a 4 because of the bonus epilogue that the author has on her website. For all of these have bonus content, which definitely I recommend you read those if you are reading the series. It is so fun and adds to it. The main girl in this one kind of annoyed me, just a little bit. So it was kind of more like a 3.5, 4, but we'll put it under the really liked just to go with the rest of the series. The Princess Game by Melanie Sellier. This is a reimagining of Sleeping Beauty. It is also a part of the series, and I would say out of this first series, because there's 3 spin-off series we're going to be talking about, I would say this is maybe my second favorite after The Princess Companion. I had a lot of friends really hype this one up, and it was very true. It was worth the hype. It was very good. Man, I don't like having all of them squished like that, but we're gonna run out of space. If the Stars Awaken by Kate Willis, I gave 3 stars. This is a Christian fantasy, portal fantasy? Alternate world fantasy? I'm not quite sure if I remember correctly. I guess we'll put it under liked because I gave it 3 stars. I really don't remember much though. So I kind of feel like I need to put it there. I don't remember really. And then the last book in the first Melanie Sellier series is an Ugly Duckling retelling. That is The Princess Search. 4 stars. I liked this one. Fun series overall. Very, very fun. A Beautiful Love by Megan Walker. This was a Ugly Duckling retelling too, wasn't it? Was it ugly? I think I read 2 Ugly Ducklings back to back, and I was so confused. Okay, I just double checked my notes. Yes, this was an Ugly Duckling retelling. I liked this one. I gave it 4 stars. I don't really remember anything about it though. But I bought a physical copy. So I feel like that should say something. But I don't remember anything about it. So I should stick it down below. I'll stick it down below, but like I did really like it. Let that be known. I gave it 4 stars. I just don't remember anything about it now. So back to Melanie Sellier, we have her second series, which is Beyond the Four Kingdoms, and it's connected to the original Four Kingdoms series. This one was A Dance of Silver and Shadow, and technically I gave it 4 stars. The rest of the series, like I kind of ended up giving like odd ratings, which we'll talk about. But I did like this one. It is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, and as someone who loved that Barbie movie growing up, I have a special place in my heart for that retelling. A Tale of Beauty and Beast is obviously a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I gave this one like 3.75, which I don't do that. So really, like, I think I rounded it to a 4 on Goodreads. I'm going to sneeze. Okay, I don't know where that sneeze just came from. I'm so sorry. But I gave that one like 4-ish. We'll just say 4-ish. A Crown of Ice and Snow was a retelling of the Snow Queen. And I've learned that's not my favorite thing. Even though I love Frozen, I don't really care for the Snow Queen story as a general rule. So I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars, and as much as it pains me to separate it from all the other Melanie Sellier books, I'm just going to put it under liked. I can't say I really liked this one, which is a bummer. Do you still need to read it? I suggest yes if you're reading the whole series in order, yes. But it was the bottom of the totem pole for me. But the next book in the series made up for that, and that was A Dream of Ebony and White. This was a Snow White retelling. Instead of 7 dwarfs in the forest, she finds 7 kids, and it was great. Honestly, it was great. Don't waste your time going and seeing the new Disney movie based on what I've heard of. Go read this book instead. It was great. I gave that one 4.5 stars, by the way. A Captive of Wing and Feather. This was a Swan Lake retelling. I gave it 3.5 stars. I honestly don't really remember too much about it, but I do remember there was one part I really liked, so we'll just stick it under there. And I can't tell you what that was because I think it was a spoiler, so we'll just stick it up there. A Princess of Wind and Wave by Melanie Sellier. This is a Little Mermaid retelling. It was the end of this second series. I think I gave it like 3.75-ish. So I rounded it to a 4. We're going to put it under really liked. In Pursuit of a Gentleman by Arlen Hawks. This is part of that fairy tale retelling multi-authored series that are set in a Regency time period. This was a, get this, retelling of The Gingerbread Man. It worked. It worked. Okay, I liked it. I'm gonna say though it didn't meet my expectations because I've read other books by this author. Well, okay, 2 or 3, and I really liked them, so I had higher hopes for this one. But I'm going to put it under there because I only gave it a 3. A Winter at the White Queen by Denise Weimer. I gave 3.5 stars. This was a Christian fiction, Gilded Age, historical. I think it's a novella, but it was on the shorter side. Novella? Novel. I don't remember which one it was, really. It was like right in between the two. It was on the shorter side. So I liked this one, but I don't remember really anything about it. So I guess we'll put it under literally don't remember much. I did not think I would have this many books there. I have to be honest. I did not think that we would have that many. Digging Up Secrets by Elizabeth Penny. This is book 1 in the Mysteries of the Cobble Hill Farm series published by Guidepost. This is brand new for them to share their books on Kindle Unlimited. But I am so grateful they did that because I love reading on my Kindle and making use of my Kindle Unlimited subscription, so I've been reading them on there. I really liked this one. I thought it was a very strong start to the series. It is a cozy mystery, no murder, very sweet. I've been enjoying the books as I've read them. The Secret Princess by Melanie Sellier is a retelling of The Goose Girl. I liked this one. I gave it 4 stars. It is the 3rd series, so it's the Return to the Four Kingdoms series. Book 2 in that series is The Mystery Princess, a retelling of Cinderella. I liked this one, but not as much as I was expecting. Usually I really like Cinderella retellings. And I liked it, but I ended up liking the Goose Girl retelling more that came in the first book of this series. So that was interesting. A Game of Hearts by Joanna Barker, 4.5 stars. I made a 10-minute TikTok talking about this book, and I feel like that just should say something. I think I included it in the recent reads where I talked about this book. But oh, it was enemies to more, but in a fantastic way, like Princess Diaries 2 vibes with archery, Regency setting. It was good. It was good. I was very stunned. A little kissy for my taste normally, but I really liked this book elsewise. Hide and Seek by Beth Adams. This was book 2 in the Mysteries of the Cobble Hill Farm series. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. I liked this one not as much as the first one. The mystery just didn't quite pull me in as I was hoping, but it was still good. A Summer at Sagamore by Lisa M. Prescott. If you see my recent reads where I talked about this book, I was struggling when I was reading this book because my brain kept autocorrecting this name of this place to Sycamore. Oh, I was losing my mind because of it. And then there was some other reason that I was just like, this is craziness. So I ended up giving it 2 stars. Didn't meet my expectations, maybe. I can't really say I had high expectations for it, but I was expecting I to give it like a 3-ish. It's always nice if it would be higher because The Gilded Age is my favorite time period to read with historical fiction. Right at the early 1900s, but yeah, no. Into Thin Air by Sandra Orchard. This is book 3 in the Mysteries of the Cobble Hill Farm series. I think I gave this one 3.5 as well. I liked it. I don't really remember too much about it, except parts of the mystery that would be a spoiler to talk about, so I can't share that with y'all, but I think I remembered it enough to not put it under that other category. This Life of Mine by Victoria Lynn. I finally read this book. I cried. We are not shocked. I gave this one 4 stars. A very beautiful story of grace and forgiveness and hope. It was lovely. It was very lovely. The first book I liked, I think, a little bit more, but this one dealt with some harder topics like human trafficking and abortion, and it was just very well done. But yeah, I cried. I cried. The Desert Princess by Melanie Sellier. This is an Aladdin retelling. I liked this one. I think I gave it 4 stars. I'm not big into desert setting books, but I ended up really liking that one and the next book, which was The Golden Princess, which was an Alibaba and the 40 Thieves retelling, which I was not familiar with that story at all. And also I just really like saying Alibaba. I don't know what is it about that word, that name, but I really liked it, and I'm looking forward to maybe finding more fairy tale retellings of that. It was fun. I don't know. There was just different parts I really liked about both of those. We're still running out of room on that really liked category. That's a good problem to have, though. Really? I think so. Sweet Cranberries by Sherry Kyle. This was just a novella set in the fall, Christian fiction contemporary book. I think I gave it 3 stars. I liked it well enough. I've read other books by Sherry Kyle, and I recall liking them more. I'm going to put it here. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great in my opinion, but if you just want like a sweet fall read, have at it. The next book I didn't read on Kindle Unlimited, but it is now available on there, so feel free to check it out. That would be The Lost Rose by Victoria Lynn. So I actually did an endorsement for this book, and that was so exciting, so fun to do. I've done it a few times, but it was really special to do it for this book because it definitely got me in my feels, as they say. I think that's still a phrase. I don't know. This is a very lightly inspired Rapunzel retelling. It is book 3 in the series. Book 2 was This Life of Mine, which we just talked about. But it's set 14 years later, and a lot of things have happened to these characters, and I cried. I won't lie. I have very high hopes for certain things happening in the future books of this series, and if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Or just note that. So another Melanie Sellier. I think I funded her Kindle Unlimited royalties. Between me reading them and then sharing about them, I feel like I probably helped her royalty situation this past year, and that would be The Rogue Princess. This is a Puss in Boots retelling. I'm not really a big fan of Puss in Boots, I've realized. So like this was kind of a 3-ish to me. I liked it, and I think you should read it for the rest of the series' sake, but it wasn't my favorite from the series by any stretch of the imagination. Then we have Shield and Shadow by CFE Black. This is a prequel novella to one of her series that I still haven't continued on reading. I was going to read the prequel novella and then start the book, but I ended up getting in the mood for something else. So I read it and I have a lot of questions. So I'm not really sure where to put this one. I was hoping it would have sucked me in so I would have picked up the rest of the series and like continued reading it. But it didn't do that. It explained the magic system well, but now I'm wondering, once I read the first book, will I have to reread this prequel? I wonder. I don't know. I'm going to put it under I don't remember much, because like I don't. And I'd probably have to reread it to understand the magic system. The Captain and Miss Winter, this was a Snow White and Rose Red retelling. And by Sally Britton. I liked this one. I gave it 3 stars, but I don't remember really anything. It was not my favorite of the series, for sure. I think out of the 6, I think I ranked this one 6th, if I remember right. Into the Churn by Haley Reese Chow. This was YA sci-fi, and it had to do with like races and stuff on planets. I didn't really understand everything, but the concept was neat. The problem I had is it got a little kissy, and there was a lot of fake cussing and then some other real life words that I just don't care for seeing, and it was just too much for my taste. Callie and the Pumpkin Seed by Sarah Baran. I am so excited about this book. I'm still so excited. I can't wait to reread this book. This was a Cinderella retelling, my new favorite Cinderella retelling. Set in the fall, very cute, no magic, absolutely adorable. Sarah Baran has become one of my favorite authors because I've been binge reading her books in these last few months since I read this one. So cute. So cute. Like, that is the epitome of what I want a fairy tale retelling to be like, was that book. It had cute puns. The romance was adorable, very clean, just so cute. It was adorable. That was a part of a multi-authored series that was like autumn fairy tales, and so I tried to read Willow and the Harvest Moon by Kayla Eshba, and I found out, oh wait, it's very much connected, it sounds like, to other books by this author, so I DNF'd it as a temporary DNF, and I may go back and read it. I'm not sure. I've read one book by this author in 2025, and I liked it, but I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series yet. Sarah Baran has a companion novella to Callie and the Pumpkin Seed, and that is Faye and the Feline Feet. You can actually get it from her newsletter if you sign up for it, but it is just super cute. It's a Puss in Boots retelling featuring Callie, our Cinderella's best friend. The Abandoned Princess by Melanie Sellier. This is the final book in the third Four Kingdoms series, so Return to the Four Kingdoms. This is a Rapunzel retelling. I liked this one. I was expecting to like it a little bit more because there was a lot of like anticipation for this final book, but I gave it 4 stars, so I still really enjoyed it. It was still a really good end to the series. But then there is a spin-off duology, and that would be starting with To Ride the Wind, and then the other one is To Steal the Sun. And so I liked both of these quite a bit. They were good. I think I gave them like 3.5 stars each, so like maybe I should have put it under liked. But looking back, it was my first introduction to the East of the Moon, West of the Sun retelling, and that was kind of strange to me. It's a little strange. So I think that maybe was partially it. And then we followed 2 couples and their romances and like how it combines, and it was very interesting how the author did it. It was definitely a duology where the books are connecting. Like, you could get them in one bind up kind of thing. Not really, but like that's, when you read them, you have to, it's part 1, part 2. Let's put it that way. There, that's a good way to put it. The Wicked Prince by Celeste Baxendale. This was a Robin Hood retelling, and this was fun. This was so much fun. I gave it like 4.25 stars. So I kept it as a 4 on Goodreads, but I really liked this one. He is Prince John, she is Robin Hood, and they have been forced to get married. It does not go as either of them planned. I really liked this one. I'm honestly going to stick it under the favorites category, I think. I really liked that one. The Traitor's Mask by Keenly Davidson. I gave this one 3 stars. It's book 1 in a fairy tale retelling. inspired by Cinderella. Based off of what I remember, I liked parts of it, but there was a little bit more language than I personally care for. Honestly, it's going between these three. I don't think I'd recommend it. I feel like there are other ones that are better. I'm going to put it under not bad, not great. I don't know if that's the proper place for it, but that's what I'm leaning towards. The next book is Married at Sunrise, and I think we pronounced the author's name Lealoha Humphreys. It's very pretty. I don't think I'm saying it right, but this is a King Thrushbeard retelling, and unfortunately this one didn't meet my expectations. I gave this one 2 stars. I'm unsure if I'll continue on with the rest of the series. The main girl drove me a little batty. Barely Free by Abigail Manning. This is a Goldilocks retelling, which honestly I was really excited to read a Goldilocks retelling, and the different elements of that, I think the author was very creative and did very cute with a lot of that. So like her family makes furniture, her favorite food is porridge, like things like that. It was very cute. Otherwise though, I didn't love it. I think I gave it a 3. It was a 3. So we're gonna put it under not bad, not great. Yeah, we're gonna put it there. The certain elements were really cute, but like for the rest of the book, it was okay. A Lily in Disguise by Jessica Scarlett. This was a Regency, clean fiction Regency book where the main girl... Oh, there's a flower on the cover. I'd never realized that. Okay. Has that always been there? Okay, interesting. This one, what was this one about? That's a good question. She had to pose as someone else, and like she gets paid for that. So like a con woman-ish, but not quite. It didn't meet my expectations because it was the hidden identity trope. And I loved that trope, but it just did not quite work how I wanted it to. The Poisoned Prince by Kristen J. Dawson. This was a Snow White retelling. I wanted to like a lot of elements of this one because like the male love interest is the huntsman. And she has just found out that she's the king's illegitimate daughter, so now the evil queen is after her. He's not a prince though, so this title is kind of a lie. And he doesn't get poisoned either. So I feel like that's slightly false advertising. I don't know. I'm going to put that under didn't meet my expectations either, because that was kind of a bummer. Okay, so I talked about The Unlucky Prince at the very beginning of this video, and I finally read the series it was connected to, which is the Kingdom Tales series by Deborah Grace White. Kingdom of Beauty, Book 1. I really liked this one. This was just a very classic version of Beauty and the Beast, but it has dragons, so that was fun. He's not a dragon, mind you. The prince is not a dragon, but there are dragons in the kingdom, so it was very interesting. The Hidden Gift by Annette K. Larson. This was a Father Christmas origin story. It was different. It was different. I don't know where to put this book. I'm gonna, I don't really do the whole Father Christmas Santa Claus thing at all, so I don't really know if I had expectations. But there was a creepy guy in the book as well. So maybe we'll put it under fun plot, but was it a fun plot? It wasn't a fun plot though. I didn't have expectations. Not bad, not great. We're going to put it with not bad, not great. Looking at the other books I have in that category, we'll put it there. I don't know. Kingdom of Slumber by Deborah Grace White. I really liked this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. My new favorite Sleeping Beauty retelling. This was just so fun how the author twisted it. And the male lead in this was... So obviously they've been betrothed since they were itty bitty, and so he's the second prince of another country, but he's basically been raised with her, and they've always known they're going to get married, but then she gets pricked by the thorn, as Sleeping Beauty does, and so she falls asleep, and everybody else falls asleep with her at night, but she wakes up during the night, and nobody knows that. Like, she's asleep during the day when they're awake, and then when she's awake, they're all asleep. It was good. Honestly, I rewatched the original Disney Sleeping Beauty the other day, and it made me want to reread this book so much because it was so good. It was so good. The Silent Prince by C.J. Brightly. This was a Little Mermaid retelling, but gender swapped, where he is a little merman, and I just thought this was so fun. How the author did this setting and the world, and the main guy is arrogant like Flynn Rider, but in a prince way, which is very much how I think Flynn Rider would have been if he was a prince too. He would have been arrogant like this too. So, you know, I think I gave it a 4-star, but I'm sticking it up there because it's a favorite Little Mermaid retelling. In Myrtle Peril by Elizabeth C. Bunce, this was, ooh, I don't remember which number this was in this series. Was it? Not all of them were available on Kindle Unlimited. I think this was number 4 in the series. I think. This is a historical, secular, middle grade mystery series. I listened to the audiobooks and followed along with the physical books. I liked the series a lot in a lot of different ways. The last book was a little disappointing, but the whole series was fun. I'm going to put it under liked because I don't exactly remember this one. I think I gave it like a 3.5. So we'll stick it there. Kingdom of Cinders is book 3 in the Kingdom Tales series. Cinderella retelling, obviously. Really liked this one. I really liked this one though. Magic has been outlawed in this kingdom, and like anyone who is caught as a magic user, which it's hereditary, you don't really learn it, it just comes up with the family tree. And so she finds out, oh, she has magic, but she has to keep it a secret. And I really liked a lot of elements of it though. It was really good. Crown Prince is the male love interest. It was good. It was good. What Comes of Attending the Commoner's Ball by Elizabeth Amy Brown. This one is quirky. This is quirky. This is clean fairy tale with not even fairy tales. It feels like a fairy tale, but it's not a fairy tale. But it's that setting, if you understand what I mean when I say that. It was different. It was very quirky. The main girl kind of drove me a little crazy. I didn't love this book as much as I feel like the majority of people do. I gave it a 3.5 stars. I didn't care for some things there that happened at the end, which are a spoiler, so I won't elaborate more. It was just very quirky, very different. Not really my cup of tea. Cover is really pretty though. A Curse for Christmas by Anna Christine. This was a Christmas novella, and it's kind of like magic realism or urban fantasy, I'm not quite sure, but basically the main girl is rushing her way to work one Christmas Eve morning at a coffee shop, and this old woman hands her a cookie, and she ends up splitting that cookie with her cute mysterious coworker, but it's a cursed Christmas cookie, and they are cursed to be in love, and so they're trying to break it, and it was adorable. It was adorable. Really, I would say that's one of my new favorite Christmas books. It was really cute. Kingdom of Feathers by Deborah Grace White. Oh my goodness, this was really good too. This was book 4 in that series. It is a Wild Swans retelling, and so as with the Wild Swans, her brothers have been cursed to be swans, but the villain of this one gives the ultimatum that she cannot talk for like 6, 7, 8 years, something like that, or her brothers will be killed. So, big problem there. Let me scooch all of these over because I know I have more coming. Kingdom of Locks by Deborah Grace White. This is book 5, a Rapunzel retelling. I really liked this one. I actually was really anticipating this one after reading the first book because it's very much connected there. But I ended up liking other ones more. But I did really still like that one as well. We're running out of room. Oh no. Murder at Misselwaith Manor by A.J. Skelly. I think is how I pronounce this author's name. I ended up giving this one 1 star. I had a lot of different things with it that I just didn't like, and that was really a bummer. I've gone into detail about that in my review. I don't really want to think about that book. The Midnight Prince by Angie, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the author's last name because we know I'm not going to say it right. This was a Cinderella retelling, but it had to do with like the Fae world, and the girl was a half Fae, I think. I don't remember too much about this one really. I gave it 3.5 stars. I remember being kind of confused with the fantasy elements. So I'm going to stick it down here. I'm going to stick it there. I don't really remember much besides my confusion. The Biggest Trouble Ever by Katie McCrite. This is just a prior to the Confessions of April Grace series. The author is now doing these shorter stories for younger ages. April Grace is just a mess and a half. She's just an absolute mess. So I did like this one. It was short. It was cute to read it on Thanksgiving Day because it works up to Thanksgiving. Kingdom of Dance is the final book in the Kingdom Tales series, book 6. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. I really liked it, how everything worked out, because there is a continuous plot thread throughout the series, and everything gets revealed in the 6th and final book. I really liked it. We are in December, y'all. We are almost done. We are almost done. The Enchanted Frost by Camille Peters. This was different. This was different. This was kind of like The Little Match Girl, which I wasn't familiar with, Jack Frost, and also The Christmas Carol all mashed up. It was very bittersweet. I don't know. I've only read a couple Jack Frost books, but the ones I have all been like borderline sad. And this one definitely was, because your main character freezes to death at the beginning before Jack Frost meets her. So, I gave this one 3 stars. We're gonna stick it here, I guess. I don't know. Snowflakes and Shenanigans, I love the title of this one, is by Adora Wells, maybe? And this is just a Regency Christmas novella. Main girl gets snowed in with her brother's best friend, who is kind of her childhood arch nemesis, and they do pranks, but it wasn't hurtful pranks. It was just like silliness. So I ended up really liking that one. I haven't gotten a physical copy of that one yet. Actually, I need to do that. A Noble Purpose by Lori Lucking. This is part of the Cornerstone series. It's a Hans Who Made the Princess Laugh retelling. I need more of this retelling because it was adorable. I gave this one a very solid 4-star rating. Christian fiction, super, super cute. Now what am I gonna do? Okay, I guess for the time being, we're just gonna scooch them in like that. I know that's unsightly, but to get the rest in, we're just gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to rethink this for when I wrap up 2025's version of this video. A Noble Match by Kristen Fichter. I think it's Fichter. And this was a Thumbelina retelling, Christian fiction, part of the Cornerstone series. You can read them out of order. You can just read some. You don't have to read them all. Very cute, very springish. I liked this one so much I bought a physical copy. The Silent Night by Sarah Baran. Oh my goodness, this one was really good. This was a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but Christmassy. And I just really liked the main guy, how they met, how the curse worked. There was just a lot of different elements to this one I really liked. Very good. Sleuths in Training, which was a Hannah West 2-in-1 book by Linda Johns. I read this one because it was a contemporary middle grade, but I didn't really care for this one. And then I also read the second one, which let's grab that. I read the second one, which was Sleuths on the Trail. And this is books 3 and 4 technically in the series. I really just didn't care for them. They were very mediocre, to put it nicely. The Christmas Camel Caper by Jane Willen. This was part of the Mysteries of the Cobble Hill Farm series. I did read this series out of order with reading this one set at Christmas time, even though I wasn't quite there. I gave it, I think, 3.5 stars. I liked it. Not my favorite of the series, but not bad either. A Noble Grace by E.G. Bella. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, part of the Cornerstone series. 3.5 stars. The characters do a quick 180, but it was kind of needed for the length of the book, so I was willing to overlook that to a degree. Chords of Green and Gold by Sarah Baran. This is a fairy tale retelling mashup of The Frog Prince and Rumpelstiltskin, and the puns in this book were top-notch. Very, very good. The Awakened Prince by Laura Carter. This was a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and I honestly have high hopes for any Sleeping Beauty retelling, but I was confused with this book. I was confused. So, didn't meet my expectations on this one, which was a bummer. I think I gave it, what did I give it? 2 stars? I think I gave it 2 stars. Christmas is for Suckers by Abigail G. Thompson. This is just a Christian fiction, contemporary, YA, Christmassy little short story. It was cute, and I liked it, but I feel like I was expecting more from it. Which is on me, I know, but I'm going to put it... I did like it. I gave it 3 stars, but I'm going to put it there. My Fair Mermaid by Sarah Baran, I gave 4 stars. This is a mashup between The Little Mermaid and My Fair Lady. But our main character is not The Little Mermaid. She is the cousin to The Little Mermaid, and her cousin is just terrible. So it involves a lot of craziness and then a suspicious scholar to the prince. Really good. Really good, though. Oh, that was a good series. The Two Bells of Christmas by Joanna Barker, if I remember this right, was obviously a Regency Christmas novella, but I'm pretty sure it's about twins that switch places. I'm pretty sure, and I liked this one quite a bit. Framed in Florals by Abigail Manning. This was the third book in one of her series. It's a Cinderella retelling. I really liked all the flowers and how springy it was, so I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't really remember too much else other than that, but we're going to stick it there. The Caring and the Curse by Amanda Thompson. This was a mashup of Snow White and Red Rose and then Puss in Boots. And those are not two winning fairy tales to me, so I gave it 2 stars. 2.5, I think. 2.5. Not bad, not great, in my opinion. Myrtle Means an Opportunity by Elizabeth C. Bunce. This was book 5 in the Myrtle Hardcastle series. Clean, secular, middle grade, lower YA, upper middle grade. Does have to do with murder. I liked this one up until the very end. Like, the last 2 pages had just, like, a certain scene that I really just didn't think was necessary, and I was really bummed it got added. So that did drop my rating to 2.5. So we're going to put it under fun plot, but I didn't like something about it because I was really bummed that that was added. The next book is Here the Falling Snow by Storm Stoltz. I liked this one a lot. I really did like this one a lot. Very cute, very fun, just a bit too kissy for my taste. This is a Christian fiction Christmas book. Really cute plot line, and I loved the faith content, but man, they just had a couple makeout scenes that I was just like, oh my, you two. Oh my. To Crack a Soldier by Sarah Baran. This is technically a part of a multi-authored series, but it is also connected to her Seasons of Music and Magic series, and I didn't realize that. So now I have read that series, and it's a really good series. I definitely recommend it, but recommend reading this one either at the end of the series or in between the fall and winter books. But really good, really cute, really liked it. It's a Nutcracker retelling, but it's kind of a twist on the Nutcracker retelling because he's a human that's being transposed? No. He basically gets into the fairy realm and he can't leave. And so there's problems happening. The Midnight Blizzard by Mary Meckham. I'm not sure how to pronounce the author's name. This was a Cinderella retelling, but very cold weather. It's part of the Christmas Chronicles, but you could read it, I feel like, in any cold weather time period or when you want to imagine you are in cold weather because, as the title says, there is blizzards in this book. And it was the forbidden love trope. The angst of this one about did me in. It about did me in, but it was good. It was good. We're going to put it under the really enjoyed, and that's going to finish off that bar, it looks like. The Lonely Eve by Emily Deddy. This was a Snow White and Rose Red retelling. I was confused with this one. Like, I didn't understand there was actual magic until the very end, where they're like, oh, the magic. I was like, oh, wait, I thought we were just using that as, like, an adjective. I didn't realize we meant actual magic. So that was on me. But I think I gave it 3 stars. We'll put it there. I'm not sure. The Lost Rose by Melanie Sellier. This is the start of her new series, and it is a Beauty and the Beast reimagining retelling, kind of. But if you haven't heard my spiel about this book, it's basically every kingdom in this country, there's 6 kingdoms, they each have an origin story, an origin history that is connected to an original fairy tale. And so in this country, it is a Beauty and the Beast. And so because of the echoes or the remains of that curse or enchantment from the original Beauty and Beast story, and so you have those remains of the echoes or the curse, and that's called the legacy. And so the legacy is constantly going to try to recreate the original events and just has like odd little things here and there. So any flower you plant is going to be a rose. And this was so good because the main girl is trying so hard to outsmart the legacy and her friend group and then the main guy and then her triplet little brothers. It was so good. 4.5 stars. Absolutely enjoyed it. Ended my reading off last year with a bang, but then we have 2 more books, so hang on. A Bond of Ice and Sunshine by Sarah Brand, 4.5 stars. So good. This was a retelling of King Thrushbeard and the Snow Queen. 2 retellings, 2 fairy tales I don't usually care for, but oh my goodness. The puppy-like golden retriever male lead and how bad he had it for the main girl. I was sold. I was absolutely sold, and just absolutely so good. That is connected to Chords of Green and Gold, and then My Fair Mermaid. And then our last book. Have I talked y'all's ear off? Yes. Three Dog Night. This was book 4, I think, in the Cobble Hill Stone series by Johnny Alexander. I don't really do the whole knights and King Arthur stuff, so that was kind of all lost on me. It was fine. I gave it, I think, 3 stars. Not bad. But ta-da! We're done! And so there we have it. Those are tier ranking my Kindle Unlimited books, all 119 of them that I read in 2024. I definitely made use of my subscription, wouldn't you say? I think I did. Now, mind you, it's always funny for me to look at this list and see how many of them I had to buy trophy copies of. So I read them as a Kindle book, but then my brain was like, oh, but you need a copy for your shelves. So buy a copy, and thus I did. With a lot of these. A lot of them. Like, honestly, all the favorites, yes, except for the Sarah Baran 3 books here. I haven't bought those yet, though I want to. I'm waiting for the hardbacks to come out. And then, yes, I basically have almost all the ones in the really like category. I have a problem, okay? I know this. But look how nice that is. They're kind of all squished, but look how nice it is. Feel free to let me know in the comments, though, which ones you've read. Where would you place them if you've read them? If we have differing places, that's okay. That's totally fine. This is just always fun to do. I love the tier ranking videos because it makes me really think about the books, and I get excited now for the end of the year when I put this all together and get to share it with y'all. And it's also, I think, helpful for if you are considering to get a Kindle Unlimited subscription and you're not sure like what books would be on there that would interest you, or if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription and you want to use it more. I love giving recommendations for that because obviously I love my Kindle Unlimited subscription. It's funny, I think about if I had to cut all my subscriptions, which one would I keep? And it is truly between Kindle Unlimited and the YouTube Premium. Those I don't know if I could pick between those two, but if I had to, I probably would pick Kindle Unlimited. I probably would pick that one. Though I have enough books on my Kindle that like would last me. So maybe I'd go back and forth. I don't know, but yeah. Yay! Look at all these fairy tale retellings. You can definitely tell I was in the mood for that last year, and you're definitely going to be able to tell that for this year as well. But that is the end for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know y'all's thoughts. I'm not sure. I feel like a couple of these could maybe move around, but overall I'm pretty satisfied just like glancing at it and seeing what we have. Overall not bad. I'm so glad that the really like category was just basically overflowing, and same with the favorites shelf. That makes me feel happy, really. It makes me feel good that that is the ones that have the most. Because if the didn't like category or the didn't remember much category was the strongest, that would be disappointing in my opinion, and I probably would want to think about canceling my subscription. But because it's the top 2 categories, it really worked out in my opinion. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I think that's it. I'm going to let y'all go now, and I will see y'all next time. That was 119 books that I read off of Kindle Unlimited in 2024. I read 203 books total, so over half of them were on Kindle Unlimited. So that's pretty good, I think. So I'll see y'all next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am Lindsey from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where there is a new review every Wednesday and Friday. I try to post a new video on this channel every Friday, and then I'm also on Instagram under Book Reviews by Lindsey, and then Books for Christian Girls. And I'm on I already said Instagram. Where else am I? TikTok, Goodreads, Facebook, all the many places to talk about books here, there, and everywhere. I hope you have an absolutely lovely, lovely rest of your week, my dear friends.